What's going on, everybody? Welcome to. Oh, here we go. Put the mic on yourself, Leah. It'll help. Welcome to the Skinny Jean Gardener Show. We are here Monday to Thursday, 8 till 10, getting you, hopefully, involved in gardening. Now, before we get on with it, right? Before we get on, I hear what you're saying. I said, whoa. You used to follow me, Lee. What's going on with your social media? Not following me anymore. I've had messages today saying just that. Saying, hey, Lee, where are you? And to that, I say, yes, I have unfollowed everyone with social media. Yes, I've done that. It doesn't mean I don't like you. It's no offense taken. Please, no offense. Doesn't mean I don't like her. Just means I'm just stepping back. And after this short introduction, I shall explain exactly why. Facilia. Or Pacilia, if you just read it off there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm on.
Oh, I can't hear you, Anon. I've done something wrong with the thing. Anyway, Elephant Poo is what I got.
Good evening, Lee. How are you?
Great, mate. Your signal is always terrible, but I'm good, my friend. Excuse me. You got an allotment? When I go, don't put artificial grass on top of me, all right?
Are you going to get composted, Lee?
Yeah, everybody, welcome to Monday. Welcome to the show. If you're new around here, what's going on? 07423 574 520. If you want to call in this evening, we've got a great show coming up. Helen Cross is coming on. We're going to talk about kids gardening from 8:30. So tune in for that. Plus, we've got later on in the show this is exciting, guys. We're going to open this box. That's coming up around 9:15, around that time. Get ready for that. What a hell of a show. It's great to be back. I've had a hell of a weekend. Let's see who's about first. I've seen people popping already in the comments. What's going on? I'll also put, it's early, I know, but let's put the this link in. You can click the link, zoom straight in and chat to me here on the show. Ian, good evening. Ray, what's going on? Good morning. Good morning from Ray. Ray, I thought Ray's in the UK, isn't he? Anyway, morning, Ray. Evening, Mark. How you doing? Ruth, good evening. And the Sugster's here. Mr. Sugget, evening. All. Awesome show coming up. Right, I should little bit go into, just quick, he says, as you probably talk about half hour for, about what's been going on, because you may be following me, which is wicked, and I've been following a lot of people on here, which is great, and I have decided, I made the executive decision, maybe I'm making more of a thing of it than it is, but no, I'm not. I think I've done it now. I stand by it. I have removed everyone off my social medias, and that is because a little bit because of what we're doing here. I think what we're doing here, we'll talk about in a second. But also, I've done a few pre-records of some interviews that we're going to listen to in the future of the show. And speaking to people like Jane and Helen, who we've got on tonight, and Lisa last week, we spoke to her. Speaking to these people, it makes me realise more and more what we're doing with Kids Garden. I need to start pushing that. And at the moment, for me personally, the distraction of social media, even though I do a show on one, is a little bit too much during the day. And I really want to make the most. Like later on, at 8:30 tonight, we've got Helen coming on the show. I'm really excited about it because we get parents on the show who have a totally different view from me about gardening. It's generally, let's get kids gardening, but a different way of doing things. And as parents, we know everyone does it differently. Everyone parents totally differently. So mums and dads might have other ways to get kids gardening. I think that's amazing. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here to chat about. But it's about time. It's about time I start doing something. I talk a lot, but I don't. But nothing's happening right now. We had the school tour. Go watch that on the YouTube. We had the school tour happen in March, and the momentum of that has slowed down. And this is our 4th week of doing this show now, which I love. I think we're doing so great. We're doing amazing things. We're getting so many people involved, bringing people together. Lisa helped out with wellies the other day. I must say that Mark from Empathy, who is a regular on the show, pops up on the show. We had Jenny on the other week talking about bees. Awesome discussion we had there with Jenny. And from that, it meant that every sale from that book, Phoebe the Bee, will now get a packet of wildflower seeds, all from Mark, which means more children are going to get gardening. So from this show, we're doing amazing things. It's just now we need to try and get it into schools more. I had a weekend of planning, a weekend of talking and sitting down and discussing. And that led to last night me just saying, well, I love everything. I love everything that everyone's up to, such as the Essex allotment, such as Robert there, such as Mr. Suggett. Not so much Beddoes. That was not a difficult person to unfollow. But I love what everyone's doing. I will keep checking up on what everyone's up to as well. But it just means it's less of a distraction, guys. It's just less of a distraction. Because I really want to spend the next, I don't know, at least the next 6 months ready. 6 months? What are we in now? October. Almost in October. October, November, December, January, around February. So about 5 months, really getting down to it and starting to plan something. I've got something that I want to start off next year with primary schools. I'm looking for a few sites to test it for a year, and then we'll move on. But we'll talk about that more over the time. But doing this show has made me realise that I really need to concentrate on that by speaking to the amazing people. So we've got Helen coming up, and I'll still be on. I'll still be showing off, and I'll be saying hello and out what's going on. It just means that maybe I won't be liking and commenting your stuff as much. That's it. That's all it is. But there you go. I mean, how many people? I don't know. About 20 people have decided, nah, if he ain't liking my stuff, I don't like his stuff, and have left. Oh well, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. Anyway, who we got about? Suggs in the house. Good morning. Good evening. See, Ray's got me started. Robert, hello. Evening to you. Alex, evening to you, my friend. Hope you are good. Ian said, missed Suggett last night and went to bed before Sean came on, as had to be up at 3 a.m. to ferry the other half to the airport. Ian, so bet he's got the Christmas lights on. It's party time. Ian's house, guys. It's party time. We miss you, says Richard on social already. However, it's the best way forward. Well, yeah, cheers, man. I'm still about. I'm just not about. You'll still see me about. But I just really feel like I think, yeah, that's exactly it. Well, keep your focus there. You can do it. Cheers, man. Yeah, I mean, it is all about focus, isn't it? And I've got something I want to start bringing out next year, and I can't do it with what is basically a social media addiction, isn't it? I don't need to constantly be. I mean, even though, let's have a look. I don't know where it is. Actually, I do know where it is. That's a lie. Hang on. Let's 0742 357 4520 if you want to call in. Tell me what you've been up to this weekend. You've been out in the garden. What you've been doing. Been windy, isn't it? I'll tell you about that in a second. How much time have you spent on your phone? Not storage. Here we go. Digital balance. I mean, today even. I mean, it does count in Spotify, which I listen to a lot of podcasts. So 20%. Oh, here we go. For instance, last week I spent 33 hours, which is over. I mean, a lot of that does take into account everything. But 33 hours. It's more than a day. Lost out on a day. Imagine what you can do with a day. Huh? Imagine. So I need to focus. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah? Focus on you guys on here. Focus on the kids' gardening. It's the best thing. It's the best thing. I'll listen to the podcast tomorrow, says Ian. Podcasts come out every day, every four days a week. So if you think, hey, this is great chat, Lee, but I ain't got time right now. I need to do stuff. I don't know what you'd be doing at 8 o'clock at night, but I need to go somewhere. But I wish I could listen to you in the morning. You can listen to the best bits. There are best bits. It happens. Ian says, it's been cold, wet, and windy upon Mank. Well, we'll feel like we've had the same weather as you, Ian, this weekend down in Essex. It's been so windy, like ridiculous. Like the garden is a mess at the moment. I've not been able to get on it today. It's been a mess since Sunday. Sunday we had such high winds that I had wood stored on top of my garage roof. That's flown away. Actually flown. It's not literally flown away. I know where it is. It's next to the garden. I need to get it tomorrow. It's pots are falling over. Drama. The tree I thought was going to snap. I need to support that. Put a support on it for another windy day like that. Just not a good weekend for weather here. Just not a good. I actually thought I'd get out and about. I thought I'd get out and about in it this weekend. Didn't happen. Just the weather was just not great. Frost down south this morning, says Ray. I can't believe it. It's frost. It's getting cold out there, man. It's getting cold out there. Frosts are on their way. I'm sure Mr. Cameron mentioned about some frosts coming. So like I said, I do have to say social media can be addictive at home and work. I'm on it way too much. However, on the allotment, I seem to be able to self it. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm the same, man. If I'm gardening, I've really got it down to a T now. If I'm gardening, I don't need to do this whole "what's going on, guys?" I mean, I speak to you guys every 4 nights a week about what I'm up to in the garden. To be honest with you, not a lot this weekend. Not a lot. But I don't need to go, hey guys, this is what I'm doing. That started to ruin it for me. But away from that, yeah, I'm just trying to put things in place so I can get stuff done. Really, get stuff done. Hello, Jane. How you doing, mate? Good evening. My polytunnel is still standing. Hurrah! Yeah, I bet you anything. I bet you absolutely anything. We've had a few things like polytunnels I've seen before. I called me socials. I saw a lot of pictures of polytunnels. You were lucky, Jane, to keep your polytunnel because I saw a lot of pictures of polytunnels flying away. Flying. I bet I'm surprised Suggart's not at a pain out of the old greenhouse. We don't want it. I'm surprised after that weather. I don't think he had it down that way. Dan, the kitchen man. He's got a garden allotment, man. It's Dan's kitchen garden allotments. You can clip that if you want. For the last 2 weeks, I have watched everything. All podcasts. Think I'm addicted to your podcast. Keep listening. The best bits are good though. I love the show. We're getting some amazing best bits coming out, and amazing people coming up too. Amazing people. We've got like I say, Helen tonight. Wednesday, we've got I've not announced it. I need to announce it on social. Everyone will be worried. We've got the podcast, the Gardening Podcast. If you want to tune into an awesome show, They're all awesome. Don't get me wrong. But Wednesday's show is going to be great. We're going to have all gardening podcasters, as many as we can get on the show. No phone calls, just garden podcasters Wednesday. You don't have to do any work. Just sit back, enjoy the show. We've got 8 gardening podcasts coming up on Wednesday. And next week, we've got the George Lamb interview. Jimmy Doherty's coming on. That's very exciting. And still no Dimmock. Not heard from Dimmock yet. And I don't know if I mentioned, but I've been in contact, sort of, with Ron Finley's peeps. Still not happened. There's only one person that knows that story, and I'm not telling the story yet until I get a definite no. It's a hell of a story. Jane said, knackered. Just got in from school. And some school is 8 o'clock. Crikey. It's only Monday. Yeah, crikey. Must have been a hard day at school. Ian says, can't video. My hair is a mess. But can I use the compost that tomatoes got blight in the top of my raised beds? That will be used for peas. The grandkids insist for next year. I know you love peas, didn't you? I know you love peas. I personally think you should really get new compost. I don't think just in case you get any. I mean, if the kids, the last thing you want, and this happens with kids, grandkids, children, if you have a little dig, we put some in a bucket, we're throwing it about, it's very easily transferred. I think the best thing to do is totally get rid of that compost. If you want to start growing tomatoes again, or if you want to start, if you want to start growing tomatoes ever again, you better get rid of that compost. Get it out of here. Get it out. Perky mood tonight. So yeah, I'd get rid of the compost. Even if you are using it for peas, I just think just anything with blight, you just want to get rid of any. You want to get rid of any opportunity, stop any opportunity from that continuing. He said they only come to pick the piece. You need to get them digging, Ian. You need to get them digging. Dig, 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 dig. Get them digging, mate. Depends how much also, it depends how I'm sitting here saying, yeah, get rid of it, mate. It depends how much compost there is. I'm just thinking there's a little bit. Depends how deep the compost is. How deep is your compost? Your compost. How deep is the compost? Ray says, wet weather from... I'm all right, by the way. I'm just in a singing mood today. Wet weather from Thursday for a week. Well, I don't know about you, Ray, but we've had wet weather all weekend. I don't need any more wet weather. No more wet weather for me. Please. No more wind. No more rain. For just a little bit. I've had our dose of that. You can get treatment for that, Dan. What would Dan say? Oh, for addiction. Addiction to podcasts. Oh, dear. Grandad's greenhouse is still standing. No glass lost at all. Great to hear. Don't want him having to replace that. And Suggs says, me on Wednesday will be the highlight. Suggs is on the show on Wednesday. He is, everybody. What's Sean saying? We should do a competition for a new channel name for the coming week. What is Sean talking about now? Oh, Sean's ever-changing gardening YouTube channel. Please just leave it now. Gave them some Toms to grow at home. They loved it, according to their mum. Oh, that's fantastic. That's really great. We've had some great. We've had some great stories, especially from lockdown, from just people giving some seeds and just kids concentrating on that one seed. That's really exciting. Like, I've absolutely loved hearing about them stories from children that would never. I mean, we did that M&S thing, didn't we, at the start of the It's a bit wild today. We did that M&S thing at the start of the year for the school tour, and I've got some great feedback that has sort of been keeping people going. But I've also heard loads of other schools getting kids involved, and just doing that, sending them away with some tomato seeds, or some beans, or anything like that. So that's great. Great news, Ian. Nice one, my friend. Sean says, been in the garden playing with my tulips and garlic today. Anyone putting some tulips in? I need to get some more tulips. Best thing. Tulips are the best fit. Oh, hey, guys, that reminds me. You like podcasts and you like me? Sure. Then you'll love me on, I don't know how much I'm on there, probably about 30 seconds, but you'll love me on Thursday's RHS podcast. That's right. Knew they'd come calling. The RHS. I'll be on their podcast. So I don't know how much I'll be on there, but get ready to listen to that on Thursday. Maybe we'll try and listen to it, but I'll probably get copyrighted, won't I? Ray says, tulips went in this weekend with my daughter. Great stuff, Ray. Well done. Loved it. The best thing I did, not last year, the year before that, I think it was now. Time flies so fast. But planting tulips with Olive. It's the best thing. Like, so good. Here we go. What's an unknown? Hello.
When it's spring again, I'll sing again. Tulips from Amsterdam. La 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 la. Tulips from Amsterdam.
There's actually no other Welsh person that could sing like that.
La 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 la. Tulips from Amsterdam. Guess where my tulips came from?
I can't think of a witty response. Amsterdam.
The Netherlands.
That is Amsterdam, right?
It is.
Right, cool. Yeah, just checking my geography. You all right, mate?
Yes, it's been a very nice day down here. It's been it's Sean James Cameron, in case anybody doesn't know.
We all knew.
It's been a beautiful blue sky day, nice and warm. Bit of a chill in the air. Perfect gardening weather.
Did you go down the allotment this weekend? Because where I am, it has been horrible. Yesterday
was, but today it's been a lovely day today.
I don't know what's going on with me up here then. We're getting a right old storm here. Not even far from you. I'm only about 2 hours from you.
Well, I went down today on purpose because I've seen the weather and apparently it's going to turn tomorrow. So I thought I didn't want to waste the day. So I've been down there, counted my tulips. I've got about 120 to plant.
Oh my God.
And my garlic, which was sent to me by the garlic farm. They said, we'll send you a small collection. Well, this box turned up and there's so much I've had to share it out amongst the members.
How many did they send you?
1, 2, 3, 4, about 16 varieties.
Oh my God.
And they know that I don't like garlic. So
wow. Well, your allotment side be happy with you.
Yeah. So I basically took off 3 cloves for myself, and then I'll grow 3 of everything, and then I give all the rest away to other people. But I'll still be able to go to visit them and see how they do.
Visit them?
Yeah.
Like children you're giving away.
But I've been also doing a bit of skip diving today.
Oh, I love skip diving. What you found, my friend?
Well, last week they had a picket fence, and you know how I like a pickety fence. So I went and knocked on the door, and they said, "Yeah, you take whatever you want to." Well, this skip's been there for about a week now, so I've gone back today, and I've got a laminate flooring, and I'm going to line the inside of my shed with laminate flooring. I got some wooden blinds. Plus, I got a sofa. Not the actual sofa, but the foam bit.
Oh, yeah? What are you going to do with them?
So, yes, there will be a shed makeover coming soon.
It's like changing rooms, isn't it?
Oh, do you remember that?
I do.
Apparently, that's going to come back.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Destroying more people's homes.
Look at what you could have won.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
that's good
yeah,
then, mate. It's like you've had your own little shopping centre every time you've walked past.
Yeah, well, I went out with my little trolley and took it to my plot.
Nice.
And then I thought, it's getting a bit chilly. You can always tell when it gets chilly this time of year, around about 4 o'clock, because even though you've made tea, within 2 minutes the tea is cold.
That's when you know.
Then that's the time to go home.
Do you know what? I really need to start a campaign to get Sean James Cameron a tea sponsor.
Well, Yorkshire Tea should be on the phone.
Don't know why they're not, mate. I don't know why they're not.
Because that's the company that I tend to drink.
Well, you should contact them, mate, and say you could get a year's supply.
I'm not quite sure who to contact, to be honest.
Who's the actor that's in the advert? We're going right off topic
Johnny
here.
Vegas.
That's the monkey.
Oh, that's pretty tips, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, tea chat.
We could sort of do a refreshed version of like the Harvest ad. Me walking down to my plot.
No.
Anyway, okay then. I'll speak to you in the week.
Great ending. I'll speak till here, mate.
Bye for now.
Bye, dude. Oh dear. Good old SJC, Sean James Cameron, calling in. I'm so glad that Ray mentioned, and now Sean's mentioned about them tulips, because I need to. Let me write on my hand for tomorrow. Tulips, because I really need to do that with Olive, because that was such a good. Apart from like vegetable growing, that's why I mentioned the RHS one, because I talked about tulips. I don't know if it'll get in there. It'll probably just be, this is Lee Connolly, the skinny, not even Mercedes skinny Jr. Are they? Lee Connolly gardens with his daughter, and he said, "Yeah, I really like planting up tulips." That was Lee Connolly there, who gardens with his daughter. Probably that's what you'll get on the RHS show. But now you've just reminded me, tulips. Need to get some tomorrow. Best thing I've ever done with Olive. Best thing. So thanks so much, Ray. Dan says, "Thank you for the song. I was looking for a new intro for my videos. I think I found it. You can have that, mate. That's a freebie." Ian scraping the windows at 3 a.m. I bet he was. The new channel name, the Yorkshire Tea Drinker. Don't give him any ideas, Ray. Don't give him any ideas. But Ian's public relations department, they give loads away. There you go. Sorted. Absolutely sorted. Ray said, "I posted a video of my daughter planting and videoing them, a bit dodgy filming. Check that out on Ray. If you want to check out some great tulips being planted up, then go check that out." Right. Okay. So Helen is coming up in about 5 minutes time. So what I'm going to do before that, because what has to happen is Helen will come into the studio. I can't talk to Helen, so we just have to stare at each other for 3 to 4 minutes during the advert break. So I'm going to do an early advert. This is a little bit behind the scenes. An early advert break, and then Helen will just pop up after, hopefully. Hey, what's going on? This stream and the podcast is sponsored by Flymo. Flymo, your life easy. My nan absolutely loves Flymo, and she was the one that first introduced me to Flymo, the brand Flymo, way back when I first got my new home, because she used Flymo in her garden. Then she bought my mum and dad a Flymo when they got their garden, and then when I got my garden, my nan bought me a Flymo. It's been in the family for years. I absolutely love it. They're such a great product. They're quality, they're affordable, and they think about how to make it easy for you to go cut the lawn, cut those edges, and do those gardening tasks. So Flymo.com if you want to get your hands on some of their products. Plus, spend over £45 and you, yes you, dear listener, can get free delivery. Oh! Go check it out now, flymo.com. The Skinny Jean Gardener, How to Get Kids Gardening book. It's available right now. That's right, in all good... Well, on Amazon mainly, to be honest with you. On amazon.co.uk or .com, wherever you're in the world. Amazon, How to Get Kids Gardening is available right now. It's a $9.99. Oh yes, my self-published work, $9.99. Let's have a little flick to see what you could be doing. You could be making this. Wildflower seed balls. My favourite garden to make. A little bit messy for the kids, but brings some incredible colour to the garden. There's over 30 garden and makes inside this book that you can do with the family to get outside and enjoy whatever space you've got. Amazon.co.uk. How to Get Kids Gardening. Would you like to sponsor and support this stream? Yes, you. Actually, not you, but you. Yes, you. Have you got a product or service you'd like to advertise? Then this is the space for you. You get yours truly to advertise your product in a very, very unique way. Thanks very much. Plus, get it put in front of literally tens and tens of people. There's at least 12 people watching right now. Probably more. Probably. If you want to get your product or service in front of them, then this is the place to be. Free advert, a show, plus we'll talk about it a little bit after each advert, no doubt. That's free, that's 4 times a week, that's 12 times. Guys, 12 times. If you want to get involved, if you want to support the show, it's not as expensive as you think, guys. It's not expensive as you think. Lee at skinnyjeangardener.co.uk. We'll talk about them adverts later on, but before that, we've got a lovely Helen Cross. Hello, Helen. Is it working? Can you, Helen? Can't hear you. Put your thumb up if you can hear me. I can't hear you. Are you speaking, Helen? Hello? Okay, it might be the fact. Maybe take your headphones off. Can you? No, like out of the out of the thing. Hang on. Let's see if it's. Are they connected? Disconnected? Oh no, it's all right. It's all right. We're all about technical problems. Don't panic. Are the headphones disconnected from the? If you. Oh, hello. This is classic. Right, okay. Don't worry, Helen. We're halfway there because we can visually see you. We just can't hear you. Can you disconnect? If you disconnect the headphones. Oh, hang on. Oh, something happened there.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. Can you hear me now? Oh no, I can't hear you. Yes, it's working. We're just very slowly. I think we're. Right, Helen, you say something.
Okay, can you hear me all the way up in Glasgow?
Yes, now I think we can just about hear you. I think the video is like a little bit lagging behind. All right.
Scotland's very far away.
It's like I'm speaking to you in Australia.
Scotland is far away from you.
It's not that far, is it? Thank you so much for coming on the show. We got you on here because I want to talk about obviously kids gardening. But Helen, I found you on Instagram. How do we find each other on Insta?
Say that again.
How do we find each other on Insta?
So I basically, during lockdown, very cliche, I was stuck at home with 3 children under 5, and my husband's a doctor, so he was obviously working, and I was home alone. So the garden became a bit of a sanctuary, and stopped me from going mad, to be honest. And we set up basically a project throughout the whole of lockdown where we did bug hotels, we did a huge kitchen garden where we've grown everything from carrots to pumpkins, tomatoes, you name it. So basically it was a bit of escapism, and I started documenting it on Instagram, and the kids were just blown away with it throughout the whole of lockdown. It really was an absolute saviour. It's such a cliche, but it really, really saved us. It really, really did. And as a result, to keep the legacy going, because I don't think gardening should just be for lockdown, we have kept it going, and we are starting basically a school gardening club in our school as well, because lots of parents have also found that they've spent a lot of time at home in their gardens with their kids. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell, really.
Because before that, you were like all in about getting kids into like cooking, right?
Yeah, so I'm quite fortunate. I'm a farmer's daughter, but I left the countryside when I was 17. So I've lived in Edinburgh and London and now in Glasgow. So my main thing is to get kids cooking, but to sort of educate them about where their food comes from. So that's one of the silver linings about lockdown, is I think more people have become a bit more appreciative of where their food comes from, I think, to be honest. And even growing it, even if it is just on your windowsill or your balcony, because I'm aware that not everyone is fortunate enough to have their own garden, especially in big sort of built up areas as well. So we've lived in London, and I know what it's like to have kids and no garden. Like it's difficult. We're lucky we've got space, but we don't live in the countryside anymore. But I'm aware when I was a kid growing up, I knew where my food comes from, and I think I took that for granted. And it's not until I've had my own kids and we've lived in cities that you're aware of kids around you don't actually realise where their tomatoes and cucumbers that they buy off the supermarket shelf come from. It really surprised me every day. So yeah.
I think there is definitely there's schools out there that do really, really well at it, and but there's a lot of schools and a lot of children that still don't really know, and I think sometimes forget, or even I forget that sometimes. Like I get to see some great schools doing stuff, and kids knowing sometimes more than me, which is great. But there's also loads of kids like my daughter, like just teaching my daughter. She's 5, and sometimes I don't know, maybe it's just me as a parent, but sometimes I just think, well, of course she knows it's come from the ground. But it's not until she starts asking questions that I'm a bit like, I've not really, of course you're not going to know that.
Totally. But I think it comes down to resources as well, and schools are really tight on resources, and the teachers have got obviously targets to reach in other areas. So I think time is a big thing. So I think if people do have the time and can volunteer, and certainly I've volunteered and given up my time to decide to help start a school garden, amongst everything else I've got to do. But I think it's really worthwhile, and I think it's something for time in.
I'm back. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey, can you see me all right?
You're back.
Sorry. Go on, sorry, you were saying?
I'm just saying it's a resource and time thing, and teachers don't. They're pressed for time and financially as well. Those are tight on cash, and I think probably more now than ever as well, given the current sort of situation that's evolving as well. But I think the other thing is, like, if you do have even the tiniest bit of space at schools, I think it's not only teaching them, but it's also so good for their sort of mental health and emotional health as well, to be honest. I think that's the thing that I've found, even gardening in the last 6 months has really helped my own mental health during lockdown. So I can speak with experience about that from a sort of depression and anxiety point of view. So, and I think kids benefit from, they behave much better when they're outside. I know my 3 certainly do.
Yeah.
So I think that from a sort of emotional well-being point of view as well, for kids to get into gardening. And that's something I would really love to be able to sort of push and make people more aware of. Because I know for a lot of people, school is all about academia and getting results, but there's a lot of kids out there that that's just not their thing, and they're more practical and they're better with their hands as well. And they find enjoyment in other ways that gardens are able to provide them with that enjoyment as well.
That's really not being pushed enough, I don't think. That side, especially like the well-being side of it for children and parents, like you say. Like, I don't feel like that's talked about enough.
Yeah, no, totally. I think it is something that, it's like anything with mental health, though. There's this taboo that's always, although there has been a huge amount of improvements made and people do talk about it more, but it's still there, to be honest. But I mean, I'll speak quite openly about the fact that I had postnatal depression and anxiety, and I have found over the last year, essentially the garden has allowed me to sort of, it's provided a distraction, like just going out, you just forget about things, whether you're sowing seeds or you're watering or you're weeding, actually, to be honest. And when you're with the kids in the garden, then you're completely distracted. And that's certainly what I found during lockdown, was this distraction that we had created, but we were creating something as well, which is fab. It's so worthwhile, while they're so little as well, because I'm sure they won't be interested in gardening when they're teenagers, or maybe they will, but they might have other distractions.
How old are your children?
5, 3, and 1.
Wow. I've got one 5-year-old, Helen, and that is enough. So you're very brave.
Brave or daft, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Have you found, like, through lockdown, from doing gardening, all of you together, like, it's brought you a little, like, closer?
Oh, totally, absolutely. It's been, even my husband's got involved in it, and I mean, I think the one thing, we've been able to try new things that we probably wouldn't have done, perhaps. So we've been growing pumpkins, which has probably been the highlight for me. Yeah, which I have one. So hold on, because it's quite exciting. I'm very proud of the pumpkins.
Oh.
This is our, I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
So this is our Crown Prince pumpkin. So we're quite lucky. There's quite a few pumpkin farms up in Scotland now, and there's one farm over in East Lothian, just outside Edinburgh, and they do culinary pumpkins. So they actually grow pumpkins specifically for cooking with, and lots of kids know where even pumpkins came from as well, or that you could eat the seeds or what you could do with it. So last year I did a pumpkin masterclass at our nursery, and we made pumpkin and apple muffins, and we did stuff with the seeds and stuff. So yeah, we grew these ones. They're called Crown Prince pumpkins. Turns out pumpkins are very hard to grow. We had 3 plants, and we've got 3 fruit, and I had 15 rotten ones. So the slugs like them, and they don't like wind, and they don't like wet weather. And we live in the west of Scotland, and it rains a lot in the west of Scotland.
They're like they're a diva plant, aren't they?
But a really cool thing to grow, especially, like, obviously now coming into October, we can use our own pumpkins, whether it's for the door or for carving, and then we can make our soup. So yeah, it's cool, really cool.
It's so strange though. Like, around, I don't know, like the end of August, September time, I always get asked, "Oh, when shall we start sowing our pumpkins soon?" Because everyone knows that Halloween's coming. I'm a bit like, you're really late. You got like, everyone just thinks, "Oh, Halloween, I must grow a pumpkin. I must grow a pumpkin." But trying to explain to people, oh, you've really got to start thinking like February, March time about this sort of thing. Start thinking about Halloween then.
I think that's the thing. I think people just think of gardening sort of like in the summertime, but it's a whole year thing. And even now, like, you don't put the garden to bed. you sort of think about spring. And I think that's the other thing about gardening. It's like it does provide that sort of hope for you as well, like planting seeds and planning. And there's something quite reassuring about that as well. And I think that's something that's been quite important during lockdown. Is that the seasons are still turning. And I know it's been spoken about lots, but it's such a cliche, but it's so true. And it's the same about this like month planting daffodils and tulips and everything else, because you're getting ready for spring. So spring will be here, and the situation might be better for us all come April.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, because I'll tell my friends like, oh, I'm planting tulips and stuff. Like me and Olive love planting tulips. I must do it this, soon, because it's like the best thing for her to do. But I tell my mates that I'm doing it, and they'll pop up in the spring. They're like, "Oh, you're planning that far ahead?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what you do. Like, it's good. It makes you also gets you excited. Like you say, like next year's coming. Like good times. Fingers crossed, going to be here."
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, we did that last week. We did our tulips and our daffodils, and yeah, it's really excited. The kids love doing that, planting bulbs, and it's quite easy to do as well for kids as well. It's not too difficult.
No,
as long as you don't plant them up.
Can't really go too wrong with it, can they?
But yeah, no, so it's good. So there's lots of stuff to do even over autumn and into winter as well. So yeah, there's plenty to go. Don't put it.
No, with pumpkins, like you really touched on it briefly, but a lot of children don't know you can eat pumpkins. I remember telling Olive the first time that we were going to cook a pumpkin. She was like, "What? Like, what's going on? Like, what is the best things we can cook up with pumpkins for like kids?"
Yeah, so basically, the key is you can eat all pumpkins. It doesn't matter what size. The big ones, although you can eat them, they're quite watery. So you want to go for a smaller pumpkin where the quite thin. So I would, and you can roast them all. And the green one, the Crown Prince one, you can roast and eat the skin and everything just with olive oil roasted for 45 minutes. Scoop the seeds, and it is delicious. And it's also, you can just blitz it and make it into a soup with onions, carrot, and a good vegetable stock. We quite like pumpkin and apple cake as well. So just roast the pumpkin and then puree it and add with stewed apples as well. So that's another good one. But basically, you can have it roasted with chickpeas, sausages, roasted with sausages, and brambles on top, because still lots of brambles going about as well at the moment, which is a good one for kids to get out and doing a bit of foraging. So yeah, the possibilities are endless with pumpkins. Honestly, there's a whole cookbook out there just on pumpkins.
Really? Oh, God.
Oh. Pumpkin pie, pumpkin frittatas. If you've got any potatoes left over as well, do anything with it. They're really tasty as long as you get the right kind. Not too big, go smaller, and it's much tastier and less watery. But there's a few varieties to look out for if you're lucky enough. So Crown Prince, Tractor, and Kabocha are 3 very tasty pumpkins that you can get your hands on. Yeah. I think even the supermarkets are getting a bit better at sort of selling sort of smaller squashes as well. But if you're planning on planting any for next year, then they would be my 3 varieties to plant.
They sell them so cheap at supermarkets. I don't know how the farmers make any money.
Oh, I know, but farmers don't make a lot of money anyway.
That's a good point.
That's a whole other story. Yeah, so that's a good one. Yeah, you could totally roast that.
We'll be roasting it. Don't worry.
Well,
I'm all over that. Alan, when you got this, like gardening throughout lockdown. So when you come and started getting back into school, and like, I'm going to start a gardening club. What sort of reaction did you get for that?
So we were really lucky. The PTA were really on board, and before lockdown, they were sort of thinking about starting something similar. So there was an appetite, but we just basically gathered together a group of like-minded people. And the week before our schools went back, because our schools started back in August, we went into the school grounds and we weeded it all. And there was a big area that was totally overgrown. And we did it with the kids, and we planted some sort of annuals and perennials that were good to go in the ground, and set up some herbs, hanging herbs, and redid some containers as well, just so that it looked a bit more presentable for everyone coming back. And the reaction was really good. So from that, we then spoke with the head mistress, and there's actually, our school's got 2 sort of courtyard gardens, but they've just been left to sort of go, just because there's not been anyone who's had the time to sort of take, or the interest even as well, because you do have to have an interest in it, I think. So the reaction's been really positive, because the school have got people who want to get on board, and the kids, I think there's an appetite for the kids as well. So our plan for the next 3 months is to gut the 2 courtyard gardens, because they need sorted, but there's so much potential. All the raised beds are there. It just needs people with a bit of time and an inclination to sort of steer the ship, so to speak, and get it going. So we're hoping by spring, then we'll be good to go, with a sort of weekly club, and it'll be built into the curriculum as well, I think, for certain year groups.
Would it be like an after school club, or would it be during the day?
Hope is for it to be an after school club, but I think that'll all depend on restrictions, because at the moment we're not allowed after school clubs or anything like that.
Right.
But I think the curriculum in Scotland, I think it is built into the curriculum of excellence. I think, I'm not a teacher, but that's my understanding. So I think primary 6, I think it is part of the curriculum. I would love to go in, but our hands are tied at the moment, just because of social distancing and all that, which makes it really hard, which is such a pity as well.
Yeah, I bet. So do you get, when the kids are at school, do they get to do much with the garden, or is it just at the moment just something that you start like main?
I don't know. Actually, no, because my youngest has just started school this year, and I've gone in and helped them in the nursery in the past. But at the moment, I mean, I think they have done a bit, but there's not a huge amount, but there's definitely potential, because everything's there. It just needs a bit of TLC, and then it'll be great to go. Ask me in 6 months' time, next April.
Have you needed like much like funds or anything to start it off? Is it all just time from people?
I think it's mostly time, and we sent out emails and text messages to various WhatsApp groups, and people were dropping off bulbs and seeds and compost and everything. Like, it's been great. Like, so people are willing to sort of give and give their time as well. So I think if you just ask, I think that's the key. If you ask and you've got a small number of people who are willing to put in the time, then I think great things can happen from not very much, to be honest. And I subscribe to a magazine that provides plenty of free seeds every month, so I could literally feed the community for the next year.
There's without doubt plenty of parents at any school that have got loads and loads of seeds that are just sitting there waiting for something to happen to. That's no problem. It's about bringing people together. That's what you're doing, really, isn't it? It's bringing parents and everyone together to do it.
I think that's the thing about gardening, even like on your street, like a garden, no matter what your job is or where you come from, it's just like a point of interest, and it brings people together. I didn't really know our neighbour until lockdown, and I saw her every single day, and we talked about gardening every single day, which was great. And we talked about our disasters and what was failing and what was thriving. And I think that's what gardening is, a sort of shared interest that brings people together. Nobody's an expert. Well, there are experts, but we're all learning as you're going along. I certainly am, definitely. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping that the garden does. It brings the sort of community together, and it might have a bigger community impact as well if we're able to grow lots of veg and fruit as well, because it's a huge area. So there's definitely potential, definitely.
Other than like time from people, like what things can you envisage in the future, like you'll be needing, like, to like keep it going?
I think a steady stream of volunteers. I've been looking into grants that might be available through the council. There's also renewable energy companies that also sort of give out grants for sort of community projects that we've sort of been researching into as well. And any other sort of community groups like the secondary schools do Duke of Edinburgh stuff where they volunteer come and help with school projects and gardening projects. So that's the sort of avenues that we're going down to sort of get support for the long term.
That sounds really good. I can't wait to see what you get up to. I really can't. How's your garden looking at the moment after you've spent lockdown growing? How's it looking now?
There's very big sunflowers. I've never seen sunflowers quite so large, monstrous. I think the key to that is sheep dung from my dad's farm. That is the key. I'm going to sell it, and that is how I'm going to make my fortune, is selling sheep manure.
Oh, Helen, you say that right. Once upon a time, I had a garden shop. I sold the only thing that sold so well was alpaca poo. So you could be onto a win there.
I like that. I could be make my millions next spring.
Helen Cross, sheep poo sorted.
So yeah, we've still got leeks in the ground. We're going to plant some garlic this week as well for next year, and there's still cauliflower and cabbage. Kale got totally demolished by slugs. Didn't get past the first hurdle, but we've stripped a lot back. We've removed quite a lot of the stuff and put some mulch over some of the raised beds as well, just to prep for the next year. So, but very few weeds, so that's good. Very few weeds.
Biggest
very tiny garden.
Yeah, sounds it. Biggest tip as a mother of, especially of three, to get the children out there. Like, what's your what things have you learned over the past few months that really helps them get out there and get amongst it and enjoy it?
Don't force it. Don't create sort of like a structure for them. Like, let them sort of, it sounds like, again, so cliche, let it happen organically. I think if they see you doing something, if you take the lead, they'll sort of follow and come and sort of like inspect what you're doing, and just let them get dirty and roll their sleeves up and get amongst it. And don't be precious, because they will stand over stuff, they'll squish stuff, they'll move stuff, and that has happened, and it continues to happen. And but just let them be curious as well. Let them get amongst it and just sort of plow through and look at worms and pull stuff out. I think that's the key thing. And don't be afraid to experiment as well with them, because that's half the fun. And they'll have their own ideas as well, which is lovely. Like, we gave them their own area where they could do stuff and make their own pond, and that just allows them to sort of explore as well. But with three boys, they didn't want a fairy garden. They decided to make a dinosaur garden. Not that I'm gender stereotyping, but so that's another thing. We gave them an area, and they made stuff out of wood and bricks, and they planted wild seeds, and then it sort of literally grew into this sort of wild, sort of bee-friendly space. But it was for their toy dinosaur, so that was quite cool. That was a good idea.
What's been the most wildest idea they've had?
The wildest idea? Oh gosh, I don't actually know, to be honest. Without making something up, but they love it. They're curious, and they're at that age where they're just innocent, which I think is really, and they've got a genuine interest. So I'd quite like to hold on to that, because they don't stay small forever, sadly.
I wish. Helen, you've got an awesome blog as well.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't do as much writing anymore. I take over lockdown, it became a bit more focused on gardening, slowly turning into my mum, because my mum and my gran they're very good gardeners. I mean, very, very good gardeners. But yeah, so it was just a way to sort of document it. But I've always written about foods and sort of developed my own recipes. So basically now the blog, The Gingerbread Woman, because I'm ginger and I like cooking bread once upon a time. So the blog now just charts our progress in the garden and recipes with what we're cooking in the garden, basically. So yeah,
that's awesome. And you're Mrs. Helen Cross on the Instagram.
sound like my mother-in-law, but yes, I am at Helen Cross.
Helen, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's lovely to meet you in
Yes,
the
yeah,
flesh.
The best we're going to get at the moment. But next year, hopefully, we'll bump into each other somewhere along the line.
Yeah, come up to Scotland, do a tour up in Scotland.
Yeah, I need to do that next year. Our fingers crossed we can get back to some sort of normality, but who knows, Helen? We'll do it.
Cool. Okay, cool. Thank you, Lee.
Thanks,
Bye.
Helen. See you later. Thank you. And there we go, everybody. Helen Cross on the show. Thank you so much, Helen, for coming on. If you want to find out more about Helen, it is Mrs. Helen Cross on the Instagram, or the Gingerbread Woman on the internet. Go read the blogs. Go follow that journey. Really great, really, for me to. Hopefully you've enjoyed that as well, by the way. But for me, just to know, from a parent's side of things, how that's working, how to get kids, how to get that into schools. It's a difficult thing, isn't it, to rock up as parents, like, yo, what's going on? We're gonna do some gardening here, and then bring everyone together. I mean, everyone. If you're a parent, you'll know there's the old the WhatsApp groups going about, but bringing those people together for one great cause to get gardening to schools is awesome. And I know. Let's see how we got on. I think we'll get Helen back on, let's say, next March time. See if we can follow that story and see how they're getting on at that school. Right. Time for an ad break. This stream and the podcast are sponsored by Flymo. Flymo.com. I'm going to tell you a little story about Vince. Vince came into my home and basically took over not all, but the biggest gardening task, which, I'll be honest with you, took a little bit of time, because usually I'm away. I'm jet setting from Birmingham to Devon, all over the country, which means that when I come home, the first task I've got to do is my lawn. Now, Vince came along and we welcomed him to the family, and now I feel like he's taken over my position in this household, which is not good. Vince, I should add, is my robotic lawnmower. Oh yes, Flymo's robotic lawnmower. Literally, you set it up, there's an app on your phone, you set it up, and every day, all week, however you want to do it, Vince, or the robotic, you can call it what you want, but ours is called Vince, goes out and cuts your lawn. Oh, made so simple. Go check it out right now at flymo.com. Spend over 45 quid, you get free delivery. You can't say better than that, can ya? So yeah, go check it out, get your own Vince. Have you heard? I've got a brand new book. It's not brand new, I know that, it was out in February, but to you, it may be brand new. How to Get Kids Gardening is available right now on amazon.co.uk. Let's have a little flick to see what great gardening makes over 30 that you could be doing as a family. Maybe you could be making stone and spoon markers, because we all know that labelling up your seeds as you put them into the soil is very important. If not, you've got no idea what's popping through when the little green shoot. That could be anything, couldn't it? Make some stone markers. Really simple, really easy, and really inexpensive. All the gardener makes in here, just literally, the costs hardly anything. I don't know how I can say that. Hardly anything, mate. Hardly anything. Come on around. How to Get Kids Gardening. Amazon. Come on out round. Would you like to support and sponsor this stream? Then you can. You can get your product or service in front of people like Richard from Littlehampton, or Sean from London, even Lisa in Northern Ireland. Yeah, we're Mr. Worldwide. I think we've got some people from Australia as well. So if you're from Australia, this is the place to be. If you want to support or sponsor the stream, then please get in contact at lee@skinnyjeangardener.co.uk, and your advert could be at this point right now. Welcome back to the show. A great chat with Helen. Thanks so much, Helen, for coming on the show. How are we all doing? Final hour of the show. It was asked. Ian just did say, can you put a link in for Helen's blog? It is in the comments right now if you want to check that out. But best place to check her out is on the Insta. If you've got Insta, check it out. Mrs. Helen Cross over there, team. Over on there. Go give her a follow. I just said we will hopefully get her on. I'll just text her and say we'll hopefully get on next year to see how that's going and getting on. Throughout that, we had a few messages come in. Oh, by the way, 07. I've got the wrong thing up. 07 42 357 4520. Should turn the phone back on. If you want to chat, if you've got any thoughts about that chat we just did with Helen, then I'd love to hear from you. The phone is almost open. Wait, let's just all wait for the phone to give itself up. Come on, mate. It's down here. Come on, mate. Come on. Why is it taking so long? Just think you can't see it, but down here is the phone. The phone's going to be on in a minute. Let's read some comments while the phone decides. Is it Beckham? Right. Phone lines are open. 0742 357 4520. If you want to chat about anything me and Helen just talked about. Right. Ian says, amazingly in Spain how bars grow fruit trees and grapevines for shade and leaves things for anyone to take. Yeah, that's true. I feel like we need to do more of that. That sort of goes back to the allotment thing we talked about once on there. Ian also says, pumpkins come from the supermarket according to my grandkids. Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's a great thing we took from Helen's chat today. Is we still need to do that. We still need to make sure schools are getting better. Children are finding more out. But if we don't tell them, if we don't let them know, if we don't show them, I think that's the biggest thing. We don't show our children where our vegetables come from, then they're not going to know. They're going to think it comes from the pumpkins come from that big box with Halloween on, Dad, didn't it? That's where that comes from. That big box sitting out front with hundreds of them piled up. That's where they come from. So yeah, that's one thing, definitely. Gardening Sugget says, gardening is all about thinking ahead, which is so true. Again, going back to them pumpkins, I was asked. I think on this show we asked, weren't we? When shall I sow pumpkins? And that was literally about 2 months ago. Or actually, on this show, must have been about 4 weeks ago. A little bit late. We're a little bit late. Can tulips stay in the ground like daffodils? Yeah, leave them in. Well, I'll leave mine in. Sugget says, Crown Prince will be... I don't know, some people take them out. Just going back to that tulips one. I don't. Leave them in. Crown Prince will be in next year's supporter seeds. If you want to support the Sugget, head over to there. Wish I felt I could do something like that, but I don't think I have the knowledge. Well, I think you're talking about getting schools into gardening, and it's not necessarily like fantastic. You got the knowledge, you got the power, you got the knowledge, you got the power. But just like Helen, bringing the right people together, bring parents together, bring in the teachers. That is a big thing. That is a big thing to just be able to start to do that, bringing everyone together to get supporting the school garden. That's a big thing, and that's why I sort of pushed a little bit on that during that interview, because I want to know, like, it's all about longevity, isn't it? So if you've got people like Helen that is really pushing that, then that's great. But sometimes what happens is, for example, say Helen moves to another school, well, she'll take all the gardening energy to another school and say that there's not another parent that really feels that. I mean, I'm not saying that is happening right now in Helen's school, but not really feels that to get going. Am I making any sense here? Then that gets lost. doesn't it? That the whole school sort of falls by the wayside in the gardening stakes. And I really want to create something over the next few years that if that parent leaves, that incredible parent like Helen leaves the school, the journey continues. It's made easy for the teachers to continue that. It's made easy for other parents to continue that. So, yeah, that's why we talked about that. Kids Do Garden. Thanks, man. Cracking interview. That was a good interview. I really enjoyed that. Great interview to start the week off. This year, at least, they know where peas, tomatoes, and their mum planted some spuds, and they dug up. So at least they know where 3 things come from. Yeah, it's not a race, Ian. It's not a race. This gardening malarkey is not a race. 100%. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Oh, really thirsty today. Anyway, thanks so much, Helen. If you want to come on the show, then call 0742 357 4520. If you want to chat a little bit more about that interview or anything to do with kids gardening, any ideas or anything you want to chat about, maybe you're thinking about doing the garden, maybe you've got a gardening question, maybe you just want to say, hey, what's going on? Nettles are annoying, though, with the kids. Yeah, nettles can be annoying. I've been really lucky that Olive's not caught any nettles yet. They sting, didn't they? Proper sting. To be honest with you, in my garden, because we've got, apart from some compost that has been contaminated with nettles, it's like stinging nettles, we don't have any in the garden, luckily, so it's not too bad, but mainly because we've got raised beds that sort of contains it and we can get rid of it if we need to. But that's the last thing you want. Gloves are good, but the only thing with gloves are, I think sometimes with children, gloves can sort of, great for that exact thing, weeding, fantastic, but it's good for kids to get their hands messy. It's good for them to get a bit of dirt under the nails. When I teach my daughter, says Dan, when I teach my daughter about grown veg down the allotment, sometimes I put a tear in my eye. Sometimes it puts a tear in my eye. It reminds me of when my granddad was teaching me. Wow. Well, yeah, I suppose it does. I suppose that's an amazing thing. I mean, I didn't ever have that as a child. Get the little violin out. I never had that, Dan, as a child. So we never really did any gardening. So it's incredible that that knowledge that you have got from your granddad is now being passed down. That's through the generations. That's an amazing thing to happen. But yeah, I'm sure, what an amazing thing as a father and as a grandfather to be able to pass down that knowledge. Just look how that's gone down to Dan and then to his daughter. And that's the thing. The thing is that, I mean, there's a lot of people like myself. Don't feel sorry for me, guys. I'm fine. But there's people and there's kids out there that just don't have that. Their parents were never taught by their parents. It was never part of gardening. No, life was never part of gardening. So the kids just have no interaction with gardening, and that's where the schools come in. That's where the schools are important. And in fact, what I want to do is use the schools as a central place where the kids learn about gardening, then they go home and get their families gardening. I mean, that is what we want to happen. How come when you touch stinging nettles, are we still on stinging nettles? How come when you touch stinging nettles, you don't feel a sting, but when you scratch your hand or arm where the sting, it irritates like crazy hours after? I don't know, Ray. I'm not a doctor. I don't know, Ray. We had fields at the back. I actually don't know. If anyone can answer that from Ray, how come when you touch a stinging nettle, you don't feel a sting, but when you scratch your hand or arm where the sting, it irritates like crazy hours after. I mean, because I don't know. Because I don't know is the answer to that stinging nettle query. If anyone that can help Ray, 0742 357 4520. With fields at the back and side now, since the housing's being built just at the side, so maybe a good thing from losing the field. Okay, sometimes I can't read these things. We had fields at the back and side. Now, since the housing being built just at the side, so maybe a good thing from losing the field. David, that used to own it before, he died, was great with his cart horses tilling the land and growing spuds. I think from deciphering Ian's paragraph there, that he learned from David, who had a cart horse tilling the land and growing spuds. I think that is what Ian's saying, which is great, isn't it? Passing down knowledge, that's what we want. That's what we want to happen. It's the amazing thing. Love that. I'm going to put the link if you want to come into the stream. What a great start to a Monday. What an amazing start. I have to vide you. I'll have to video you. I wish Beddoes would video, because I got no idea what he's talking about. Go do your hair. Or just call in 0742 here we go. 374520. And here's a man that knows how to work the system.
I don't know. Do I? Is it going to work?
It works, mate. Your shed looks fancy.
I'm calling you on a newer computer.
Oh, got ya. It looks good, man. How are you, dude?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. I feel really pumped for this Monday. I've been excited to come on the stream, excited to chat to everybody. Excited.
Yeah, no, it's good. I just need to. I've got you in the background.
It's all going so well.
Oh, that's better. Sorry, I had you in the background, talking a couple of seconds behind me.
No one needs double lead, that's for sure.
Oh, I don't know. So how you doing, mate? Sorry, I can hear you properly now.
Yeah, good, dude. We had Helen on. Did you catch the Helen interview just a minute ago?
I did, yeah. I mean, that's brilliant. I mean, she gave some amazing advice. I love that bit about how just don't try and force your kids into doing certain jobs in the garden. Just get them out there, get them interested. And I love the bit about, don't get too precious about how, if they're going to step on stuff or if they're going to break stuff. I mean, when my little boy goes out into the garden, he likes making num-nums, which is like bowls of sort of food. So he'll pull petals off roses that have gone over. Now, initially we were like, oh no, don't pull the petals off. But it's like, well, just kind of let him go and explore and find. Obviously, you point out the spiky plants, you point out the plants that are going to hurt him and all that sort of thing. But that's what he likes to do. And he's really getting into insects. I mean, I am scared of spiders, okay? But he will go out in the morning and he'll go and find spiders and he'll catch them and put them in a little bowl. And we have to explain to him that you can keep them there for a little bit and then you've got to let him go and get some breakfast and let him go and find some. Otherwise, he'd just have a shed full of desiccated insects.
How old is your son?
He's nearly 5. 5 in 15th October.
Okay. Yeah. But they're so brave at that age.
He is, yeah. He's great. He's really enjoying the space of the new garden because the old garden was much bigger, but it also meant, and this is something that Monty Don said, that if you're going to build a tree house, build it closer to the house than you think, because the kids want to still be able to engage with their parents. You don't want to build it right at the top of the garden, because they're going to just be on their own. And it's actually better to have, if you're going to be building forts or dens or tree houses or spaces for the kids, mud kitchens, things like that, have it closer to the house than you think, because they want to be able to go and play, then engage with the parent again, and then sort of go and play and have their space on their own. But if you put it right at the top of the garden, then it gets boring for them very quickly.
Yeah, they need that. I always say this about that sort of thing, that they need that to be able to see you. Because I remember we used to have Olive's playhouse around the corner of the garage, so we used to sit and have a barbecue and have like a little social area, and then she'd just keep coming back and forward. And now we've moved where her playhouse is and where she plays, as you can see us, she just does her thing.
Yeah, well, I wanted to phone up and explain a couple of the sort of thoughts I've had about interacting with my own local school, because as I think we spoke before, the teachers have already realised that my wife and I are horticulturalists, and so I think it was last Thursday, my wife was employed for a couple of hours for my son's reception teacher, who has got a much bigger garden now, and just wanted a idea of how I do all the jobs when I do them. So that was great. That was 20 quid that she earned. But now everybody kind of knows what we sort of do. And the things that we are thinking about doing at our school is, if you're going to put in an allotment type area, we know how we've spoken before about how it's relatively easy to get big groups of people in and to get sort of sponsors from the local garden centres and things like that. So raised beds, MyPex and bark, very important around an area where you're going to be doing allotments, because the raised beds are up enough so the kids can actually look over and see. This is primary school, obviously. And the MyPex and the bark mean there's very little weeding and it stays the same in the future. When we had a look around Monty's new school, they put in these lovely beds and lovely borders. They've even got these like massive crooked house things. And we're not in a special school. It's a normal school in a suburban area. They've had help from parents before, but due to the 6 months of lockdown recently, it's got completely overgrown. So every parent that goes and has a look thinks, "Oh crikey, this is too much work for me." But they used to have a retired gentleman who would come in and just keep on top of the weeding, keep on top of things. But because of this 6 months of lockdown, it's just got absolutely mad, and so it's going to be really hard to get it back to a usable space, because it's just so overgrown. There are loads of plants being swamped out. So my thoughts are, I know MyPex is plastic and that's a bit bad at the moment, but if you can, when you're doing gardens, when you're doing allotments, put down a weed membrane, cut through and plant through that. And possibly also, if the school has quite a lot of trees and overgrown sort of areas, I don't know about this, so I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe it might be worth the school investing a couple of £100 in a shredder, so you can just shred everything on the site, and there's your bark mulch.
That's true, actually.
But just a few thoughts. I will keep you updated as the weeks and the months go by.
Definitely, mate. We must get you on for like a longer chat, Mark, to chat about this.
Well, yeah, definitely. Whenever you want. Sorry about the product placement, but this is my office as well. And
it's so good to hear how we're getting on, though, because like one of the things that I really want to at least trial next year, like, is something that can be really easily copied by other schools that either don't have the right people to push it. Like, I think a lot of the people we have on this show and on the podcast are amazing, like yourself, are amazing at pushing it in that school. It's the schools that don't have people like you there to give them more of a structure and to make it as easy as possible to be able to create these areas is something I want to do.
Yeah, you're totally right, mate. You need a template, I've been putting out a few feelers because I'm a tree and shrub guy. I'm not that much into grow your own. I've done a lot of grow your own, but I've always done it in season.
Yeah.
Whereas what schools need is they need the seasons, which include 2 weeks Easter holiday, 6 weeks summer holiday, 6 weeks summer holiday, ideally with little pots of stuff that the kids can take home.
Yeah.
So we've got to really rethink the gardening calendar. So I put out a few feelers. Richard Suggett, if you're listening, if you've got any ideas about how we do this, I'd be gratefully appreciated. I mean, I can kind of do the basics, but like I say, I'm not an expert in grow your own. That I think would be, because I mean, obviously, like autumn pumpkins are great things to have because they suppress weeds and they grow really easily. But you don't want tomatoes everywhere, because ideally the kids should probably be taking the tomatoes home.
Yeah,
because that's when they're going to need the most amount of care, and they're not going to see the tomatoes growing if they're still in a greenhouse at school that somebody's got to water, somebody's got to feed, and all that sort of thing. So yeah, we just need to rethink the gardening calendar a little bit. I'll see what I can do. Watch this space, mate.
Nice one, mate. I'll chat to you later, Mark.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks,
Take care. Bye bye.
There you go, everybody. Mark on the show from the awesome Empathy, who, like I said earlier, Jenny we on the other week. Jenny was on the show talking about her book, Phoebe and the Bees. And did I mention this earlier? I'm sure I did. But if you go and buy that book right now, Jenny's Phoebe and the Bees, I think for the first 100 books since then sold, might be wrong, but I think it's 100 books, you'll be getting free wildflower seeds that Mark has donated over there. So that's an amazing thing. So happy that we managed to link that up. That's all because you guys tuning in and watching. Right. Thanks so much, Mark, for calling in. And let's just quickly see who's chatted. Ray says, lesson learned. Don't put a water barrel of nettle tea by the polytunnel door. Yeah, don't do that. That sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. Suck says, I saw my nieces at the weekend and asked if they have done much gardening since returning to school. Their answer is no. Yeah, well, I think to be honest with you on that one, I put a tweet out the other day to teachers to ask if it's the right time to get this going again. And I really respect that there's so much going on. There's so many rules and things changing, and that feels like there's a lot happening at the moment. Well, there is, isn't there? Let's be honest, there is a lot happening. That's just, it's not quite the right time to bring that big back in, but it's definitely a good time for me to plan. Definitely a good time for me to speak to you guys, speak to, I don't know we talked today, speak to Mark. Okay, we should definitely get Mark on, talk more over the next couple of weeks. Probably get him on next week. I'm not sure what the schedule's looking like next week, but we'll get him on, talk a little bit more about how he's doing there. But just at the moment, I feel like next Feb, I feel like if we're going well with the old COVID thing, if we're going well with that, then we can start speaking to schools, start seeing how we're getting on, seeing if we can get that going. Can I suggest using wheelbarrows to grow in for kids' schools? Then they can wheel it home over the holidays. I can only imagine, I like the idea, but I can only imagine right now, off the top of my head, what's going to happen outside the school on the last day. We're going to have crashes of wheelbarrows and things flying everywhere. I really like that idea, Suggs. I do like it. This is the thing. Like, I did the school tour. I think I've sort of spoke to you, Suggs, about it. I spoke to you guys a lot about it, but I did that school tour, didn't I, in March? Some of these kids ain't got no space for a wheelbarrow. Some of these kids have just got a windowsill. So maybe it is about taking tomato plants and seeds and home, I don't know, and putting them on the windowsill, stuff that you can actually grow on the windowsill. That's why I just really don't want to rush into this. I don't want to make, like, we're going to do a trial next year and see how we get on, but I don't want to rush into something like this, especially for those schools, for those kids. I don't want to leave anyone out. Don't want a plan that leaves anybody out. Like the idea though, mate. This stream and this podcast is sponsored by Flymo, home of the hover. I made that one up myself, but that should be their tagline. Home of the hover glide. That's my impression of a Flymo hover. Glides across the ground, so easy, so simple. I love Flymos because they make cutting your lawn and caring for your garden so easy. Plus, they've got, and I'm just looking around the corner here, an easy glide I've got here. I've got a hover vac, both are brilliant for different sized gardens. Plus, they've got a new easy store, so you don't even have to plug it in. You put a battery in it and you drive about cutting your lawn. No wires. How easy is that? If you want to find out more and see what I'm talking about, then check out flymo.com right now. This stream is also sponsored by How to Get Kids Gardening, my book, Lee Connolly's book, a top 10 gardening book of 2020. Not my words, but the words of The Independent. Also, in this book, Lee has brought together my passion of nature and wildlife, along with my love of grow your own. Not my words, the words of Jimmy Doherty, of Jamie Oliver's mate. But let's have a little flick through, see what you could do at home as a family. Maybe you could create this, a bird feeder. That's right, you can create a bird feeder just from a plastic bottle. Something really simple, really cheap, really easy, a great activity to do with the kids to get outside whatever space you've got. How to Get Kids Gardening, available on Amazon for just a tenner. Woo. Could your product or service be in this part of the show, the advertising part here? If the answer is yes, I think you were thinking about it, weren't you? If the answer is yes, then get in contact at lee@skinnyjeangardener.co.uk. We can talk about saying hello, how you doing? Do you want this? Do you want this pen? Do you? Probably not. It's a digital world now, isn't it? But do you want to buy this pen? Then you can at Pens Are Us. That is just one example of the many advertising talents that I've got. So if you do fancy it on the stream, come support us, come sponsor us. lee@skinnyjeangardener.co.uk. Okay, final half hour of the show. What's going on, everybody? Good start to the week. Pumped this week. Very excited. Let's see what everyone's saying. Ray don't think anyone would bring that wheelbarrow back. Some people would. And Ian says, go for kids, have a fish tank and a rabbit hutch and have to look after them over summer. Whatever happened to that? Like, I know your grandkids do it, but whatever happened to... I used to have a fish, I think. Hello?
Hello.
Hello, caller. Who is this?
It's Mr. Suggett.
Oh, I thought it was one of those twitchers from last week.
No, very nice. It's only me.
Oh, no, I knew it was you, mate. How you doing, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Suggs, did you ever have a fish or a hamster or anything like that at school that had to be looked after over the 6 weeks holidays?
Yes. I quite often brought our school hamster home for the weekend or the school holidays. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't quite see why there's a difference between that and a plant.
So true, isn't it? So I mean, I don't think that happens as much anymore. I think there's something about hamster rights or something which stops them from being kept at school. But it used to happen, didn't it? So why can't we do it with plants now?
It definitely did used to happen. And let's face it, we're not that old, so it wasn't that long ago that it used to happen. And let's face it, a plant is probably easier to look after than the hamsters and the fish.
True. That is that. Well, especially with my history of fish, mate. Yeah, very true.
Yeah, I rest my case. Actually, that's your prime example. How easy it is to look after a plant than it is to look after a fish.
Yeah, true, man. True. Anyway, man, how are you doing anyway?
Yeah, I've got a bit of a headache, so I've got you on quiet.
Okay, sorry, I'll calm it down. Sorry, I don't get a bit excited
That's
sometimes.
No, that's right. I'm going to record a podcast in a minute, so if you can be quiet while I do that as well,
Yeah, okay.
I'll be most appreciative.
I'll be really quiet after we get off this call. I'm opening the box. Do you know what's in the box?
No idea.
Well, you have to tune in after you've got off this call, mate.
Oh, okay. I'll have to keep watching for a bit.
At what point during my show are people referencing you as the source of knowledge?
I have no idea. It was quite nice for that to come up, though, from my perspective. But I did. Straight away, I thought of that wheelbarrow idea.
Yeah.
As one option. It's not going to fit everyone, though.
No, I need something that is. I need a plan that will fit all schools and all types of schools.
Yeah, well, I do think I do have another option, and it'd be a gardening club run by the school, or somebody goes into the school, perhaps an after-school club, but it doesn't just run during term time; it runs during the holiday time as well.
That's good.
That way, if kids don't have a garden at home, there's still somewhere that they can garden.
Somewhere they can go.
Yeah. Of course, you're going to need somebody to run it, but I'm sure there will be people dedicated enough out there. And Stuart Jackson springs to mind straight away as somebody that would probably be doing that sort of thing anyway.
Who's that, mate? Sorry, I missed you. Just cut out there.
Stuart Jackson.
Yeah, sorry, Miss Jackson. Yeah, he'd definitely be someone that does that sort of thing, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I really want to, and I know I'll just keep coming back with problems for you whenever you come up with great ideas. But you know I like that. I really want to have something which is great if you've got people like Jackson or Mark or Helen. They're great to be pushing it. I really want something that if they're about, then that's just a extra bonus.
Yeah.
But the teachers are going to be 100% definite there.
Yeah.
So if there's a plan that they can start it, or at least, I don't know, man. Like, it's just. I think parents are amazing. I think, the biggest thing is, right. So Olive goes to school and she's in year 1 now, and in year 6 she'll be leaving, and I obviously want to start a gardening club there. After she leaves in year 6, and this is just as a parent, who obviously you follow your kids, then you to school. I won't be at that school anymore, and then does that mean that gardening club dies there?
Well, this is the thing. The gardening club has to run independent of the person who's running it. So it needs to be a self-sustaining object.
That's the word I was looking for.
Self-sustaining or object?
Both.
Yeah. It's the same, because I've spoken to many people in schools who have done gardening, but they've said as soon as one teacher leaves, who was keeping the garden going, it's fallen by the wayside because the interest isn't there.
That's the thing, isn't it?
But I think it needs to be a self-sustaining thing that just runs. And it might be a case of getting a local garden centre involved as well to keep it going with the expertise and the odd helping hand or something, just to keep the momentum going.
Sort of, we could almost fall back very easily almost fall back into our garden centre chat there, couldn't we?
We could, yes, yeah.
We won't, for everyone else's sake, but we could.
But I think that would be the route that I would think of going, is that start a club, but get help from a garden centre or even a local gardener or somebody that is really interested in doing it, or even several local gardeners taking in turns just to keep the interest going.
Yeah, in case one falls out, then
Yeah,
then there's always another few that can keep that going.
yeah. I know it sounds very complicated to organise, but there must be a way it can be done.
Yeah, so there's got to be an easy way to make that happen. There's got to be an easy formula to be able to give schools that they can implement.
Yeah. And it'll be good advertising for the companies involved.
Yeah, of course, which is always good. I mean, I don't think this has happened yet, but I don't feel like, and I've talked about this before, but companies thinking, and this is very far I'm thinking ahead, thinking of 20 years ahead.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a company right now thinking about supporting primary schools, getting kids gardening, and then in 20 years' time, that woman or man remembering that brand was the one that got them gardening, and the support you'd give that brand no matter what, because those were the ones that got you gardening?
Yeah, I mean, logically, that makes a lot of sense, but then in 20 years' time, will those companies still be around? It's whether those companies stand the test of time.
Well, you'd hope so.
You'd hope so. But I know many of our local garden centres have changed hands so many times in the last 10 years that they're probably not the same compared to what they were 20 years ago.
Well, it's always immediate anyway, because if you're getting the kids gardening as a brand, and that is supported without just going in, saying hello and getting out, if it's continued support, then your instant I don't know, the brands want this sometimes, your instant comeback is from the parents, because the parents know that, say, let's call it Sugget Seeds. Sugget Seeds supports all these kids getting into school and bringing this all together.
Yeah.
Then the parents know about that. Then the parents want to support it because there's that brand support them, getting their children into gardening. Who wouldn't want to thank that brand? Yeah,
but also that child could be taking a pack of seeds home, maybe just once a year, but it's got the brand on that pack of seeds. The parent is going to see that, and it's going to be in the memory banks.
There's a lot of good things that can come from it. It's just these things take time.
It does take a lot of time. I mean, I still feel the biggest problem is that gardening is not pushed on schools as much as it should be. Now, I believe it should be part of the curriculum in some ways, but I always worry that's going to put kids off because it's forced upon them.
I think we talk about getting it in the curriculum quite a lot. The only issue we've got is some of these schools don't even have a garden yet. So until that happens, the teachers can't even think about making it part of their lesson.
Well, what we could do for the schools that don't have a garden is we go and contact the local council and sort of say that you're all part of the same club, effectively, a school and a council. Can we have a bit of a park that we garden in?
Good point.
Because we haven't got a garden at school.
A lot of community gardens about as well. We've got a community garden down our road, and I don't. There is some school actually. This community garden. Did I take you to the community garden when you come down?
We walked past it. Yeah,
we rolled through it, didn't we? Anyway, some of them are done by schools. I don't know how much is actually grown on there. I've never really seen a school in there. I work in there sometimes, but I've never seen a school work on them before. But I'm sure it's used. So I'm sure there's community gardens that have been used, or allotments even for cars to go to an allotment.
Yeah, it's just a case of working with the council in that circumstance to come up with an option.
Yeah.
And it probably involves a bit of thinking outside the box, but in some cases. But where there's a will, there's a way.
That's true, mate. That is true. Yeah, we're going to get to an answer, man. I'm quite excited. I've come out of the weekend feeling really pumped to get something up and running for Feb for a few trial schools. I'm looking for a few trial schools if you know any. But to like at least test it for a year to see what works, what doesn't.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You've got to try it and see how we get on, or how you get on with it, and if it works. Because it's only ideas at the moment in my head, but they may not work.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You come up with a
Yeah.
decent idea, implement it in a few schools, see what works, speak to teachers, speak to parents, speak to the kids, and then and adapt it. I mean, I've told you about that. We've got a good podcast coming up next week with George Lambert's doing it with secondary schools.
Yeah.
Which a lot of I mean, I should really play it this week, but we've not got time this week to play it. But I should put that out before we continue the chat, because it really has changed my mind in what I'm pushing.
Yeah, I thought that when you spoke to me about it, I was hoping it was going to change your mind.
Oh dear. Dude, thanks for calling in. How's things anyway? Everything good? Good show last night, I saw.
Yeah, apart from it not working on Facebook, but I think I've fixed that now, so it should be good.
Nice one.
For this Sunday. Podcast coming out in probably the next 3/4 of an hour. Audio podcast, that is.
Nice.
A proper podcast.
Good.
Or talking about manures.
Oh yes, manure. I've got elephant manure in there.
I haven't.
Oh, that's a missed opportunity.
But yeah, I did think about including that, but then actually I can still include it. So
well, if you need an elephant manure expert, actually I've not got no time tonight, so you're too late. But I am. Yeah, that is my other job, elephant manure expert.
Elephant manure expert.
Yeah.
I've mentioned lion manure.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. You've covered the zoo part. That's good.
Yeah.
Cheers, Rich.
No worries. Have a good one.
Speak to you later, mate.
Take care.
Bye, dude.
Bye.
Straight off the back of Richard's call, he's back again. He can't get enough tonight. Hello, Mark.
Yeah, I think you're definitely on something there. A couple of elements. A lot of kids are being picked up by their grandparents, and grandparents work down allotments. And I think getting allotments involved, if the school can get an allotment where they don't have enough space for their own gardening. So I know allotments are in short supply, but part of the reason behind that is that sometimes they give such massive areas and people find it overwhelming to take on the allotment on its own, as themselves. So schools, they have the manpower to do it. So if a school doesn't have gardening space, get them an allotment. They also may be able to make friends with the local horticulturalists, the guys that have been growing for a long time. I think there is a big resource, because so many parents are so time poor. They're so busy, they're working 2 jobs, and they're relying on their grandparents. And maybe if we can try and get an army of grandparents into this, that might be an element that may work.
That's so true, isn't it? Yeah, making it easy for them and to be part of it. I think it's a really good idea, Mark.
Yeah,
I like that, mate. And also a lot, like you say, like allotments. There's plenty of. Do you know what the only thing is? I hate this so much. It's health and safety is always one of the things that comes up with taking children off site.
Yeah. Okay, right. I hadn't considered that. Yeah,
I love these. I've been asked about that so many times, and every time I've brought that to a school, that is the one thing that keeps coming up: paperwork. In it, and the big thing for me is like I want to create something with the least amount of friction as possible, without having to get things signed off, and teachers have to jump through hoops to make things happen. But I think the grandparents thing is a really good idea. I think getting them involved, with knowledge and the energy still to make that happen is good.
To go back to health and safety, though, all the grandparents would have to be CRV checks to be allowed on site. But
it's a different world.
Too much of a problem.
It's a different world. I remember when my granddad came in to talk about, what did he come in? I talked about World War II once to our school. I welcomed him in with a cup of tea. There was no paperwork to sign. There was no lanyards to put around your neck. So it's very much different now.
Yeah.
But Mark, as always, thanks for your input, dude.
Take care, mate.
See that, fella.
See you soon.
I love that. Yeah, that's the thing in it. I love that. Like, we have got so many allotments that you could really easily just walk down. I can literally picture, even Olives, I can picture quite a few schools just in my town that have an allotment really close. Or some schools literally opposite the school. But to actually take the kids from one side of the road to another is just a nightmare. I think speaking to you guys, we've come up with a few different ideas there that can be molded into something quite exciting. Sugget with his wheelbarrow idea. There's a wheelbarrow I saw me and him saw it this year at the Garden Press event that could be used a little bit adapted for that. Allotment sites close by. I don't know. An idea from someone chatting tonight. Someone put a comment in. Even having the growing area outside of the school, just on the school gates, maybe could that be a thing? Depending on the school, to make it easier over the 6 weeks holiday. These are the things that need to think about. But the best thing is, I've got you guys as a sounding board for any ideas that pop up. So as much as I am loving your ideas, and as much as I keep coming back with what I feel is a negative response, and I don't want to be negative. I don't want to be the guy that says, "Oh, actually, there's quite a bit of paperwork involved in that." I don't want to be that guy. But I think together we're coming up with a few ideas that can be molded into something. School just carry out a risk assessment and sort that out. It only needs doing once. It says Sugget. It's part of the If it's part of the curriculum, it will have to be done. Also, they seem to take kids to church or somewhere without much fuss. Why? Because it has to be done. That's a good point. There's arguments to both sides of getting it in the curriculum, isn't there? And seeing how the best way we can do that. So it's true. I remember going to the church and weirdly doing rubbings of gravestones. I don't know. I know, right? So I don't know if they do that anymore. But there we go. Right. Thanks so much to everyone. Thanks, Suggs. Thanks, Helen. Thanks, Mark, for calling. We have got 8 minutes left of the show. What a quick show. It felt like it's gone really quick. We've already there's been a few. I'll come to that in a sec. Tonight's show has gone so fast. Thanks so much to everyone that's been commenting and calling in. We're going to open this box in a minute, so don't panic. Let's just have a quick look at the comments. Have you tried asking Alexa who Skinny Jean Gardner is? No. Please, someone tell me what she says. Wasn't Suggs in Madness? He's just the same fella. No, we've not had Suggs from Madness, but I have started calling him Suggs without even asking him, really. Madness reference. And then, how about starting kids with Cress? Quick results and a little space. I like Cress. I think it's real quick. I think it's real easy. Here he is. Hello, Dan.
Hello. You all right, mate? How you doing?
Good, man. Happy Monday. Welcome to start of the week.
And you? How are you doing?
Good, man. I'm feeling pumped for the week.
How are you doing?
I'm feeling pumped for the show. I'm not feeling so pumped for your internet connection tonight.
Must be the man outside again peeing around with the internet.
What's going on with you, mate?
School and doing bits and pieces with kids and stuff like that. I have spoken to school in the children doing the growing and things like that, and their plain word to me is at them they are going to do any of the they're going to allow any parent or anything on site to do any form of growing or teaching the kids.
So it's not happening. Dan always has. Dan, hello, Dan.
The bloody internet's annoying there. Hopefully you pick that up.
We didn't pick it up tonight, Dan, but you've always got such interesting stuff to say. Your internet fails you every time.
Is that better?
You're all right now? Dan, say something. Dan?
I'm all right
Dan?
now. Hello.
Right, great. Now, can you just repeat everything you just said in that last minute?
I was just saying, I've spoken to my daughter's school about a week or two ago, and they have told me that who's current situation, and it's pretty much a shame of doing stuff. You want to help the kids and get them to help growing, but what I was thinking of doing is maybe there's some way that we could set up like a podcast for children, where as people we supply the seeds, we supply the growing equipment, and then we teach the kids through podcast, obviously doing it that way, and then they could send you pictures or they can video their plants and report it back to you.
I definitely think that's a good way to go. I definitely think there needs to be that sort of support.
Can you still hear me?
Oh, Dan.
Yeah, it's so hard at the moment.
It's a difficult thing, man. Like I say, like hopefully by
the internet's too rubbish.
Right, I tell you what, Dan. We're going to do a GoFundMe for Dan's internet at some point. Dan, thanks so much for calling in. Call me tomorrow, Dan. All right. That right.
Yeah, I'll try to.
All right, mate. Every time Dan's got so much good stuff to say. It just never comes out. The internet always has different plans for that. It always does. 3 more minutes. We're going to open this box. I think we might. Let's see. How about starting kids with Crest? I do think Crest is a good one, is what I was saying. Good for getting kids started in gardening. One of the things we've got to talk about a lot more is patience and taking time and slowing down with gardening. It does take time. If you want to grow something that you really, really want to eat, then it does take time. It is patience, slow down. I think that's an important thing. And if you don't like cress, well, then it might grow quick, but you're not going to care about it. But you're right. I think, how many kids don't like cress? I don't think I like cress. Do Flymo not do shavers? Do you not liking this little bit of stubs, Ian? My daughter has a Vegepod style bed outside their classrooms. I think those sort of raised beds are probably, I know a few schools that I saw along the way that have those raised beds, and I think that's a pretty good start. I think it's a good, I'll be honest with you, Ray, we're looking at that as a good starting point for schools, because it doesn't take too much room up. It can, like I say, it can be put outside the back of the classroom. It can be put anywhere on the playground, and maybe not in the car park because you want the kids to go to it. But it can be put on the playground. Having that as a starting point, and remember, we're looking at schools all over the board, and just have maybe just some tarmac or some astroturf, not just the ones that have an amazing field that they can dig into. So I think raised beds, that sort of style, as a we've got 1 minute left, as a beginning structure, as something to start off with, is definitely the way to go. School just carried out a risk assessment to do that sort of thing. It's flown tonight. It really has, isn't it? It has flown tonight. I have been called worse. This sucks. Here we go. Suggs in with the last idea tonight. What if each class had a patch they could look after right throughout the time they are at school from year 1 to year 6? That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. To really get some longevity from it. Suggs, you got something there. That's a good idea because, I mean, in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, you can use this for this year. And then the next class will come and sort it. But that's a good idea. Some longevity there. There's 6 years there of gardening in the same area. Tending and looking after it. Patience. We talk about asparagus being grown. That's when we can start talking about them sort of things. Some actual longevity. Suggs, you have come up with something there to end the show with. We were going to. We have to miss call. Please, sorry. We're just going to end the show tonight. Thanks anyway for trying to call in. Call back tomorrow 8 till 10. Whoever just tried to call in. I did say that I was going to open this tonight, guys. Oh, show my address. I was going to open this tonight, but we've run out of time. So if you want to find out what's in this box, tune in tomorrow. You're going to like it. You're going to want to take... It's the members cards. Remember we talked about the membership cards? They're in the box. So tomorrow, if you want to get a membership card, tomorrow's the show to watch, to take part in, and to find out what is in the box. Thanks so much for watching. As always, go listen to the fantastic Best of podcast, which is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music, and wherever you listen to your gardening podcasts, team. Also, you can listen to it on the website, skinnygardener.co.uk, if you want to head over there and check that out. Thanks so much. I'll be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. For now, Facilia. Or Pacilia, if you just read it off there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm on.
Oh, I can't hear you, Anon. I've done something wrong with the thing. Anyway, Alison Poo is what I got.
Good evening, Lee. How are you?
Great, mate. Your signal is always terrible, but I'm good, my friend. Excuse me. You got an allotment? When I go, don't put artificial grass on top of me, alright?
Are you going to get composted, Lee?
Yeah,